Welcome inside for another edition of SJHL Insider. I'm your host, Clark Munroe. We're here in the IKS Media Studios. We have a great show coming for you today. Game 6 is on the way in Weyburn tonight. Weyburn versus Flin Flon tonight. Game 6 is going to be a great time. If you're in the area, make sure you get your tickets if you haven't already. I'm sure that building will be filled to the brim, and it's going to be a very exciting atmosphere there for sure. I'm jumping back in the saddle after a week and a bit off here. I was down in the desert down in Arizona, so that was a great time, but we're back. We're back running with the back in the original saddle with Jamie Neugebauer, my good friend here, who filled in admirably, not just admirably, excellently for me while I was gone. And shout out to Dazza Mitchell, by the way. Dazza Mitchell was fantastic. I got to catch his appearances. Unbelievable stuff. Very bright future for that kid. We already knew that. But Jamie, thanks for filling in for me, and welcome back.
Yeah, happy to hear you had. Seems like you had a great time down there. Got some of the pictures that you sent, but you're right, the prodigy. Dazza Mitchell, folks, unbelievable, really honest, and from experience as well. And just, again, the last thing I'll say, his attitude, yes, that would be great. What a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. Clearly so well raised as well. So always a treat to deal with people like that.
Absolutely. Fantastic kid. And just for the record, I tried one of his pizzas that he left in the freezer here, because he brought some pizzas for the crew back here, which is always great. And thank you, Dazza, for that. And it was wonderful. So shout out to Dazza Mitchell and his family and everybody there. But today on the show, we're going to update you on what is going on in round 2 between Weyburn and Flin Flon. Melfort's already punched their ticket. They're waiting. They're sitting back. They're chilling, figuring out who they're going to play basically at this point. But Game 6 is tonight. So we're going to recap what happened in Game 5 to get to this point. We'll preview what's going on in Game 6 and how the series has gone so far. And we're going to be joined by a special guest later on in the show, owner and founder of the Warman Wolverines, Cole Kachur. He's been here before. We've talked to him before, but let's get an update. Where are they at? What's going on with the Warman Wolverines? So we'll find that out with Cole a little bit later on. But first, before we get into too much else, let's thank our sponsors. And of course, that starts with Borgo, Capital Auto Mall, Cantera Seeds, Chevrolet, Sask Lottery, Saskatchewan Construction Safety Association, Nutrien, Tourism Saskatchewan, Sask Energy, UPL, SGEU, Great Western, SGI, and RBC. Thanks to everybody there, of course. And if you haven't already, make sure you follow us on all of our social media channels as well. Get your Flow Hockey subscription before the finals kick off. It's really easy to do, so make sure you go check that out. You won't miss a minute of the action. And follow us on all of our social medias, including sjhl.ca, and we'll have you covered if you miss anything. So make sure you do that. The man to my left, as I mentioned, Jamie Neugebauer, does a great job of recapping, filling in, telling stories. He's fantastic. Jamie always deserves a big shout out, this guy. But
back at you.
Oh, thank you. Why don't we talk about Game 5, and we'll start with the Prairie Proud matchup.
It's time!
Little rave back there.
Let's just all raise the roof.
We're just gonna have a rave.
Shout out to Prairie Proud, of course. I'm wearing the shirt today. We got the hat on set here. Fantastic people, great stuff. And they've given us a few things. We've given some stuff to players and coaches around the league. Lots of great reviews, tons of great reviews on their stuff. So make sure you check it out. Let's recap Game 5, Nugsy. I was in Arizona for this one, so you're gonna have to fill me in a little bit. Actually, that's a lie. I was home. I wasn't in the game. I wasn't at the game though. But I know it was a great one. Yeah. Obviously, Flin Flon's caught a little bit of a momentum boost over the last little while. I was in Arizona for Game 4. That's what I had in my mind. But Game 5, Flin Flon's caught a little bit of a wave here. Obviously, winning Game 4 5-1 to push it back to Flin Flon. Winning Game 5 now 6-1. So can you tell me what's been going on? How did this happen?
Yeah, I mean, I think what we saw, it kind of was a movement almost that started in Game 3 for Flin Flon. They were starting to win those battles. Yep. They were starting to get shots. They weren't dangerous shots, but they were starting to get them. They outshot Weyburn heavily in Game 3. But they weren't dangerous, and Angelo's always very good. Games 4 and 5, very similar games because Flin Flon started to get their mojo back and a little bit of confidence. And when you're confident and you're connected together, you're a little bit more on time. Your pass is a little bit crisper. Your creativity is a little bit higher, and things pull off. And in the end, Flin Flon was able to take advantage of their chances early in games. And, I have a graphic that we'll put up in a minute here as you take a look at the highlights from the kind of dominance that was there in Game 5. And, one thing that I was harping on, Clark, was first periods. How do you start? Do you start on time? Usually Flin Flon's teams are known for starting on time, especially at the Whitney Forum. And in games 4 and 5, they did that. And one of the telling stats on the graphic that I had our great guy Kelly put together is what the first periods look like. And games 1, 2, and 3 were Weyburn won. It was 6-0 Weyburn in the first period. There it is.
So the games 1 through 3 on the right, games 4 and 5 are on the left here, as you can see.
Yeah. So first periods in games 1, 2, and 3, which Weyburn won.
Yeah.
6-0 Weyburn. Games 4 and 5, 4-0 Flin Flon, and that turned into big scores. And obviously, these are both very good teams. We've seen that all year. We're seeing that now. If you're playing from behind against very good teams, don't need to be a genius broadcaster, Clark, to say you're in trouble.
Yeah, right.
And look, it's kind of bared out, hasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And I think one other thing that I've noticed, and again, I was gone for a good chunk of this series so far, but just following from afar and keeping an eye on box scores and highlight packs and stuff like that, is it really seems like when your best players aren't your best players at this point of the year, you're gonna have a tough time. When the other way around, when your best players are your best players, there you go. And you've seen in the last several games, or in the last couple of games, Keith Gruner has been popping off. Luke Lepper has been popping off. Liam Hunks has been popping off. Ryder Ringer's getting some points. Anthony Piccinino has been filling up the score sheet. So you see guys like that really coming to life a little bit. And then the depth guys step in around them, like Eric Hahn got a goal in Game 4. And, you see guys like even Cole Tanchuk got a couple of points. Like, guys like that are getting involved.
I mean, that's what they're here for. That's what their job is.
Yeah.
That's what those big guys' job is, to make a difference every single night. You don't like that? Don't ask for that role.
Yeah.
Like, that's the bottom line. I think in the first 3 games, we saw a little bit of lack of grit and tenacity, especially the first 2 games from the Bombers. But if you don't like us calling you out and saying that, you didn't show up, you didn't, you just can't put on that Flin Flon maroon jersey and turn into Superman. And I've talked to Mike Reagan about that many times. You don't just do that. Like, you show up, and you have to show up, and that's the way it goes. And you'll get criticized, and they got hammered by the fans for sure, and maybe deservedly so. I'm sure people take things too far. They're not used to adversity, I think, up there. Maybe.
Well, they call it the zoo for a reason.
They call it the zoo for a reason, but they really showed up for Game 5.
That's a compliment, by the way.
Right, they showed up for Game 5. Angelo Zoll had a tough one. You saw his stats there on that graphic. He was pulled, and that's kind of really hurt his save percentage. Is that he was pulled in Game 5 as well. So I guess you can look at the positive, maybe that Angelo was off his feet for a lot of Game 5.
Might be fresh,
and so that might be helpful. And we saw Daza after the Broncos got hammered. 9 rip, and they pulled him for Brady Holt vote. The next game, Daza was very good again, because again, he got a little bit of time off his feet, even though it didn't work out so good for the team.
Right.
But the Flin Flon Bombers are back. They have their mojo back. They have their confidence. They are not missing their opportunities. The power plays for both teams continued to struggle. I think that speaks to the quality of coaches. Those guys have watched video and taken away what the other team likes to do.
And in fairness, both teams have really dynamic penalty killers out there, so that's also showing up as well. And you mentioned Angelo Zoll. Just a quick shout out. I know in our group chat, Commissioner Kyle was praising Ty Matonovich just for how well he came in Game 5, and he made 29 saves on 32 shots. So shout out to Ty coming in, filling in for Angelo Zoll. But we know this is Angelo Zoll's net going into Game 6. He's going to be back, and I'm sure, knowing how athletic and talented he is, he'll be okay. And it's going to be very interesting tonight. But let's, maybe for topic 2 of the hat trick, Nugsy, let's kind of transition into what's going to happen tonight.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you.
A preview. Yeah, for sure.
Who has more pressure tonight?
100%. I think it's Weyburn. I think it's you're at home. You're coming off of 2 losses. One of them was at home, and their backs are up against the wall right now. Flin Flon is playing with house money, and I always look at it that way. Is I think Flin Flon shouldn't be here. frankly. Especially after being down 3-0. They shouldn't be here, but they are. And now they're just playing with house money, like I said. So I think it's all Weyburn right now, and if they can't pull it off tonight and finish it off, the mountain might not be taller. There might not be a taller mountain in terms of going back to Flin Flon for the Whitney Forum in Game 7.
Well, it's interesting. I was thinking about this, and I was going back and forth about this, because last year in the finals, what did we see? We saw Melfort go up 3-0. Flin Flon won 2 in a row, and we said, all the pressure's on Melfort. They better win Game 6. And they did. They didn't. And you know what? Well, the Melfort Mustangs, we'll talk about them on Thursday on the series preview. But there's no sort of situation that's ever too big or gets behind, Trevor Blevins' team the last 2 years, really. So they're kind of an outlier in terms of this whole who has pressure, who has momentum, blah, blah, blah. They don't care about any of it. They seem like they can get above it all. Now, the Flin Flon Bombers, it takes a lot of energy to be on the precipice every night, and they have been for 2 nights. So I'm not saying that they don't have a prayer or a hope or a great chance tonight, because certainly the Uncle Mo is now on their side.
Yeah.
I think you'd be nuts not to say that. But my caution is that Warman still has 2 games to win this.
Weyburn.
Or Weyburn, not Warman.
Warman also technically, they have lots of time.
They've got lots of time. The W team has a chance still has 2 shots. And so I think, the pressure is still, like, it maybe was 100% on Flin Flon for the first 2 and then 0 on Weyburn in some ways. Now it's maybe 50-50. Yeah. I wouldn't say it's 100 on Weyburn. Right. I'd say it's 50-50. Because Weyburn can still, they just win 1 home game, really. Yeah. And that's it. So, this Weyburn team has not played with fear all year. They haven't played great every game all year, but they haven't played with fear. And I don't think they're going to start tonight. I think it'll be a real tight toss-up. People keep asking me for predictions, and this is probably the one game all year where I'm like, I cannot.
No idea.
Predict it.
I agree with you, but I think if there's one fan base, from my experience, and again, remember, my experience is I worked with the Estevan Bruins. Right. So the animosity was never low. It was always high. But if there's one fan base that I feel can match what Flin Flon can do when it's a full building and everything, it's Weyburn, in my opinion. And I think tonight's crowd will show that. I anticipate that the crowd in that area, it's going to be ridiculous. Yeah. So I'm sure it's going to be a great atmosphere. And if there's going to be one atmosphere that could match or equal what the Whitney Forum can bring on a nightly basis, could be Weyburn.
So my agreement, I agree with you in a big way in that the Weyburn Red Wings fans have come out. Yes. They've really shown up. Yeah. So I guess Flin Flon fans are so special. They're almost like soccer fans in that they don't wait for something to happen to make the noise and to get excited.
But if you remember this is the first time Weyburn's been in the second round in I don't know, what did Cody Mapes tell us?
2016, something like that.
12 years or 11 years or something. So I mean, it's been a while, and I know that I get it, but at the same time, all I'm saying is when the time comes, I've seen it, and Weyburn,
fair enough.
They know what they're doing.
And you're right. And they came out and they were really awesome in games 3 and 4. And so can Weyburn fans be loud and rowdy? Absolutely. Yeah. So if you're a Weyburn fan listening to this, make that noise from the beginning when the players come out for the starting lineups. They're going to be there. I know they're going to be there already. It's going to be great that way. The energy of just people being there. Yeah. But make noise, be loud, and show out that Weyburn fans can do just as well as Flin Flon fans. Because you did, me and Rory all last year in the finals said, "Hey, Melfort fans, we know what Flin Flon fans bring. What are you going to do?" And the Melfort fans answered our call. Yeah, they did. Big time. Yeah, they were unreal. Weyburn fans, this is your call. Mm-hmm. Be there. Great, you're there. Make the noise too. Yeah. Be excited. Let's go.
So let's talk about Game 6 though. What can we expect on the ice in terms of what do you think? What does each team need to do to either close this out or stay alive? What are we looking at here?
So there's 2 things, right? For me, one is always, can you go into the house and exert yourself? Flin Flon, again, lots of perimeter opportunities. They finally started to score. You look at the highlights, the goals that Flin Flon scored, puck to the point, puck on net, win that battle. They were not doing that in games 1, 2, and 3.
Right.
Everything was a box out. Zoll saw them, chances, second, third chances if they were there. The Weyburn D cleared them out. And I do think, Weyburn misses a healthy Cypress Smith-Davis, not just because he's my good buddy, but also because he's gritty and he gets in your face and you're thinking about him and will there be a cross-check to my ribs and all those different things that he brings that are so good. And sure, they have a Drew Moldy and a Ryder Romular and a Matty Edwards that kind of do that. But I think Cypress gets more ice time.
I will agree with you here because when we were at the overtime game against Battlefords in Weyburn, that was all night. Cypress Smith-Davis was mixing it up and getting the other team off their game all night long. So I 100% agree with you. Yeah.
And then the second thing that I think about too when it comes to these two teams is we've seen great Matthew Keeper, we've seen great Angelo Zoll, we've seen okay Matthew Keeper, we've seen okay Angelo Zoll. If they both show up, then I think it'll be a low, tight scoring, checking, kind of nervous-y, cagey game. Yeah. But it's kind of gotten away from one or the other one a lot of these games, and they've been blowouts one way or the other. Really, maybe not on the ice in terms of chances, because I still think the scoring chances have been relatively even, but. Games have kind of gotten away from one team or the other. Yeah. In this series, and it's made it interesting because again, I don't know what's going to go down tonight, but get in the house, get people's face, make it mean and nasty, and on the line. We don't want to see suspensions or anything, but make it nasty. Yeah. Whichever team you are, and then obviously goes without saying, Zoll or Keeper, they both need to show up.
One thing that I think will be an interesting little X factor to an extent. Simply because this player has put up points every single time he plays, but he's only played a little bit, and that's Leighton Carruthers. When he's in the lineup, he simply gets points. Yeah. Whether he's healthy or not, it doesn't seem to matter. Every time he's in, he gets a goal or an assist or something. He's producing. He didn't play in Game 5, but they won it regardless. Yeah. So now it's going to be interesting, where's his health at in terms of, is he going to be in the lineup? Are they going to put him in, in a bottom 6 role and just get him on the ice a couple times in some situations? What are they going to do with him? Yeah. Will be interesting. I'm not saying it's going to be the do or die factor, but it's an interesting X factor. I think.
Well, certainly he's a big time game changer for Flin Flon, and what they were kind of doing to mitigate clearly that he's not 100% is he was very net front, and he had a shift or two where he was around the perimeter, but he was net front and using that hand-eye coordination, and that's really what he was best at. That's what he was advertised as anyway coming in, and that's what he did in the QMJHL, was be that net front, that big guy, that great hands and tight, as opposed to end-to-end dangling everybody. Right. Now on the flip side, on the Weyburn side, the biggest question mark, the biggest game-changing X factor in the SJHL maybe is Ethan DK. Sure. And, in 2 of the games this year, one of them he scored a hat trick, and that was that win at home. Yep. And he scored the next night. And those are the only 2 games the whole playoffs that Ethan DK has scored a goal. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't believe Ethan is healthy. I'm not sure what it's about.
He did miss a game or 2.
He missed games in Battlefords, or he played the games against Battlefords while he was dealing with an illness. Yeah, right. But when he is on, is there a more electric individual in the SJ?
He's unbelievable.
He's up there. Yeah, he might be the best. He's one of them anyways. Yeah. So when can he be healthy? Again, my understanding is that Cypress will play tonight. How healthy he is to play tonight, I don't know. The Bombers are very banged up too. That's what happens when you get late in the second round, and that's the real winners in this whole series is the Melfort Mustangs, because they're sitting there licking their chops, saying yes, beat each other up, keep beating each other up. But we said that last year too.
I know you guys chatted with Trevor Blevins last week, and I know the timing was different, but I'm sure if we had him on the show today and we asked him, he would say, I just hope it goes 7. Yeah, go triple overtime in Game 7
for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
But last year, remember, this same time, Humboldt and Melfort were obliterating each other. Yeah. Flin Flon was sitting back and having fruity beverages on the beach. In a metaphorical sense, metaphorically, and then Melfort showed up at the beginning of that finals, and Flin Flon didn't. So we know that Blevins will be trying not to let history repeat itself in that way. Definitely. So it'll be very interesting to talk to Trevor for the preview show, the finals preview show, and see how they maybe do things differently, or see how they do things given they have all this time. But man, oh man, I don't know what's going to happen tonight.
No, it's going to be very interesting. Like I said, get your tickets because it's going to be a lot of fun. For topic 3, because our guest is in, so let's get to topic 3 here. We have 2 things kind of mixed into topic 3. Our fantasy update for our playoff fantasy pool. And also, we have a commitment to mention as well. So why don't we start with the commitment? Because I think it's pretty cool. And it's topical to a player who's still playing tonight.
Right.
That's Jerome Maharaj.
Right.
You want to talk about that?
To Toronto Metropolitan University.
Yeah.
Of course, it's a wonderful spot. They lost in the bronze medal game of the University Sports Championship there to who'd they lose to? I'm blanking at this moment. I have reported on it.
Yep.
But,
we put a picture up. I remember.
We put a picture up.
It was a buddy, Elliot Detiel.
They
Where
won
does he play?
They won the championship. They won
to.
the national championship.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyways, the Toronto Metropolitan, they won that long game against Mount Royal.
Yeah.
Etc. Anyways, Toronto Metropolitan on the they renovated Maple Leaf Gardens. That's where they play at the Mattamy Athletic Center in Toronto. It's really awesome. So cool for Jerome. Obviously, he joins former junior hound Marko Djordjevic as a commit to Toronto Metropolitan, and obviously it's a great program. And I truly believe Jerome has all the tools to step in and be a force relatively quickly there. Yeah. I really do. So hopefully he gets that opportunity and goes in there in great shape and a great headspace. But congratulations, Jerome! 9 points in 11 playoff games so far. It was a big piece of Team Neugebauer's fantasy championship in the regular season as well. So congratulations, Jerome.
Now he's on my. Why don't we look?
Yeah, let's look at.
Why don't we look at the fantasy
who's winning
update?
The fantasy update?
Because he is on my team now, and look who snuck into the lead. It's me.
The Money Men.
The Money Men have snuck into the lead. Obviously, a couple of big performances from the Melfort Mustangs at the top of my list there, but it is not over yet. As the IKS Crusaders have something to say about that, and Team Neugebauer. I don't think Rory has a chance. Nick Andrusiak could put up 20 points in the finals. Probably not.
Yeah. You know who TMU lost to in the bronze, by the way, was the U of S. That's why we're talking about it.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
With Chance Petruic.
As you can see, for Nugsy's team here in the fantasy, Liam Hunks and Anthony Piccinino leading the way big time. Tate Schofer is eliminated. Logan Belton's going to be in the finals for you, and Cypress Smith Davis could be in the finals, depending on what happens tonight and potentially in Game 7. For the Crusaders, obviously Ryder Ringer's leading the way. He's the leading scorer in the entire thing, so that's why. Ashton Hutchinson's having a great time. However, they have Jordan Grill and Nikita Ivashenko, who were eliminated. They do have Ashton Paul as well, who will be in the finals. And then Rory, like I said, 4 of his players have been... Oh, I shouldn't say that. Nope, 3 of his players have been eliminated. So he's hoping Flin Flon gets through simply because he needs Colm Semp to have a chance. And then, like I said, I have 2 guys that are moving on. And then, depending on what happens in this series, I'll have either 2 or 1 more joining them. So it'll be an interesting finish. But we do have a guest in, Nugsy. Perfect. So why don't we get to him now? And that is, of course, our good friend Cole Kachur, who we've spoken to before on this program. Cole with the Warman Wolverines, obviously. Welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us today.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on.
So, Cole, obviously a lot going on, it seems, on a daily basis. There's a lot of great stuff coming out in terms of content with the Warman Wolverines. Let's just get a quick behind-the-scenes look at how you guys are feeling, where things are at right now with you guys.
You know what? We're feeling good. The support from the community of Warman is it's really picking up. So we've kind of set a goal of the drive to 1,000, where the goal is to hit 1,000 season tickets, so we can have that Warman home center communiplex filled up every night. And we're still a little ways off, but we're making some progress every day. And now we're just starting to get into the corporate sponsorships and discussions with our corporate partners, and just feeling like there's a lot of momentum. And so hopefully we can keep this going for the next month or so and, get somewhere within the vicinity of our target.
Absolutely. And that's the exciting part, is there is a bit of a target and there is a bit of a deadline. So can you just tell us what the target is in terms of the ticket goal and where you guys are at right now in terms of that?
Yeah, so, there's a little bit of ambiguity to it just because it's kind of deemed a successful season in corporate sponsorship drive. So really what we want to see is support from the community. And so if that's in the, buying tickets and season tickets, great. Just this week, we're going to start to release some flex packs as one of the things about Warman is it's hockey crazy, but that means every kid there plays hockey too. And I think a lot of young families were having a little bit of trouble committing to the season tickets, not knowing what their schedules are going to look like yet. So I think these flex packs will be a big winner for, getting a lot of the younger families out. And then, as we kind of move along the corporate sponsorships, honestly, I've been taken aback by the amount of support for the Wolverines in the community so far. So it's just about getting out and, boots on the ground and doing it the old-fashioned way of building some grassroots excitement about your product. And then hopefully we can get to, I think the deadline for us is kind of the middle of May, where we really need to see the community buy-in. And, once we get there, then it's all about getting the votes at the, league meeting in June to make this dream a reality.
Now, my understanding, Cole, too, and I'll try to get this as accurate as I can, is my understanding is that the city of Warman really wants to see that interest be really high before they also kind of jump on board with, helping change the rink around and make things. Maybe you could say more about kind of what the plans are over the course of the summer, if it gets approved, in terms of, adding seats, making it more the home of the Wolverines, as well as working with the city of Warman to expand the facilities.
For sure. Yeah, the city of Warman has been very good to work with to this point. But to that point, they want proof of concept. They're not just going to go out and start spending a bunch of money without having proof of concept that the community wants it and that the team is going to be there. And so, throughout this process, I think it's a little bit of give and a little bit of take where we have a lot of things that we think would make for an amazing game day experience at the Warman Homes Community Arena. Is that all going to come to fruition for, puck drop in September? Probably not. But I think it's just about having open dialogue. And, there's certain needs that I think, without a doubt are going to be part and parcel of the SJHL being there. But then there's also some wants where, it would be nice to have. And, I think that overall the city council, the mayor, the recreation director, I think they're all super excited about junior hockey potentially coming to Warman, and I think they will be great partners. But that at the heart of it is, going to be community support, because they need to make sure their community is behind this before they go and spend money, which, I completely understand their narrative on that.
Yeah, awesome. And, the best thing, too, I think, to sell, and I don't need to tell you because obviously you're very successful in the business world, but it seems to me that if you're having a hockey team, then having hockey news seems pretty important. You guys have your spring camp coming up in a couple of weeks, so maybe this is more of a Brett question, but as far as you understand, how is it going in terms of getting kids to sign up for that? And I know you guys have other camps, too, that you guys had a lot of support for, so maybe just talk about what's kind of going on, potentially on the ice soon when it comes to the organization.
Yeah, for sure. And that's all part of building, this team from the grassroots level up. We wanted to be involved in the community. And so one of the initiatives that we put forward was we're doing a female camp in Martinsville, and then a co-ed camp in Warman, and that's for youth during the Easter break. And those camps filled up within a number of days. I think we have about 150 kids coming to those two camps, which we're super excited about and really looking forward to hosting a bunch of local families there. And then our SJHL camp, which is going to be primarily held in Martinsville, as the ice in Warman is going to be out by then. But yeah, I think the pickup has been pretty good. I don't know the exact numbers, but I think Brett was hoping to get around 80 skaters is what kind of the goal was. And, it might be one of those things where hopefully not as much quantity, but, a high level of quality. And we're getting some really, strong players coming in who want to be Warman Wolverines.
Well, speaking of the on-the-ice product, I mean, we have a good relationship already, especially Neugsy, with the head coach and general manager, Brett Pilkington, who's involved with the team right now. Oh, yeah, okay. But how nice is it to have a guy kind of ready to go, knowing what it takes, and not having a fresh face or a young person who maybe doesn't know the ins and outs? You have that secured. Does that make that obviously must feel pretty good?
Honestly, it's invaluable. Behind the scenes, there's just so much stuff going on in regards to trying to get this franchise off the ground. And I can't imagine having to navigate, the player personnel side and trying to integrate a new coach and or GM into the mix. So, Brett, right from the get-go, he's really wanted to make this work. He's a team player. He bleeds red from the Hounds, but he's going to be, bleeding navy blue and red for the Wolverines. And he's just a relentless worker. And I'm actually just so excited to be able to partner with him and have him to lead this organization. Didn't know a lot about him as we kind of took this process over, and decided right away that he was going to be the right guy. And, we couldn't be more confident in our decision that Brett's going to lead us where we want to go here.
So another thing that I've been seeing a lot of is the video content that you guys have been putting online on the social media channels and everything that have launched. And one thing that I saw was a physical jersey that somebody was wearing, and I've seen the merch line as well that's come out. How has that been going, and how has the community kind of gotten behind? It looks great in my opinion. How has that been going so far on that side of things?
Yeah, well, we're still, until we officially get this off the ground, we're a little hesitant to order too much merch. I guess, though, it could become a collector's item if for whatever reason things didn't work out. But, we get a lot of feedback on social media. Initially, I would say it was mostly positive, but, you get the odd social media troll who wants to try to make your life more difficult. But once those guys went away, the reaction has been super positive. And specifically as people, our marketing team has been out in the streets of Warman wearing the hoodies and wearing the jerseys, there's been a lot of inquiries about, where do we get the merch? How do we get the merch? So we're super excited. Once we get some of these final approvals and get this all done and dusted, I'd imagine throughout the summer we'll be doing a whole bunch of different merch drops and trying to get everybody in the Wolverines colors as we head up to our game day, in late September.
Well, gotta say that jacket looks terrific. So if you need my size, I'll send you the text. Kidding. Gotta ask you too. The city of Martinsville has added a junior B team. Is there any I thought about maybe talking to them and sort of building a relationship there?
Yeah, you know what? That's we had heard rumblings of that, and then actually I think it's the owner of the Martinsville Junior B team reached out to us just this week in regards to a partnership and what that could potentially look like. So Brett is actually going to be in Warman here in Martinsville area for the next few days, and I know they were going to have a conversation about what this could potentially look like because. The more junior hockey options, the better. And, if they can, help kind of feed us some players or, we have a landing spot for some players who maybe get in and out of the lineup, I think that there would be a lot of benefit to that. So I don't know all of the exact rules of, how that works, but that's why we pay Brett the big bucks so he can handle that and, build our program to be one of the strongest in the league.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. And then, just the last question then, I guess, how have you found being, a co-owner of a junior hockey team? Has it kind of been what you expected? What are some things that maybe surprised you? Just fill us in.
Yeah, no, it's been a lot of fun, but it's been a lot of work. I'll be honest. It's, you don't really appreciate everything that goes in behind the scenes to, whether it's junior hockey or, any other number of businesses, I'm sure. So, and sometimes the only way to learn is, trial by fire where you think you do it the right way and you have a misstep and, you got to kind of fix your direction. So, we're by no means perfect, but we're trying to be upfront and we're trying to communicate with our future fans about what we want this team to be and what we think it's going to mean to the community. So I'm really looking forward to, pushing through these season ticket goals, getting that final approval. Then I know it's going to get real fun. Once we kind of get through the SJHL camp, we start seeing the impact already that we're going to be having on the community. And I know that it's going to feel really good to be, in the Warman Home Center Communiplex, the barn sold out and just ripping for the Wolverines. So, when some of the days are hard, I just kind of visualize what it's going to look at that home opener, and it makes me put the head down and get back to work.
Yeah, I know that it's definitely going to be a whole lot different, I know, when the puck drops, and I'm sure that there's a lot of steps to get there, but Cole, we're all very excited to see that, and we'll be keeping an eye on you and keeping in touch throughout the summer and watching you at the SJHL Draft, which is going to come up in about a month and a half or so, and a whole lot more. So thanks for filling us in today. Appreciate the time, and we'll chat with you again down the road.
Yeah, and just a shout out to you guys and IKS Media, as a partner. You've been such advocates for the Wolverines, and we really appreciate it. And, we're sure looking forward to building this partnership and, being part of everything that you guys and IKS is doing. So thank you very much. And we appreciate you letting us come on and, share a story. And we look forward to filling you in as we hit some of these targets here.
Appreciate that. Thank you, Cole. Good luck the rest of the way. We'll chat with you later down the road.
Sounds great. Okay, take care, guys.
All right, there it is, Cole Kachur. What a cool update. Obviously, very exciting times for the community of Warman, and we're all rooting for it to go really, really well. Obviously, the better the Warman situation does, I think it's better for the league as a whole. So it's exciting to kind of see as that comes together.
Yeah, certainly we have a very strong interest in seeing this all work out well, for absolutely everybody. Get your season tickets, try to get out there. A lot of people have asked me, what does it mean, this 1,000 season tickets, before this date or that date. It's not fully clear, I guess. But the bottom line is, get your tickets, go out there and support, and then you'll work towards this wonderful community, having a player. You mentioned the draft there. That should be in mid-June. Yeah. And the Warman Wolverines, it'll be awesome, too, because they have the first overall pick because of the Notre Dame Hounds. So, they'll get an opportunity to kind of showcase what their organization is all about right away the next time, after the Centennial Cup, whatever that'll be, however an SJHL team does in that. Hopefully they win it. After that, the first sort of hockey thing will be the Warman Wolverines picking a player. Yeah. So that'll be kind of cool, too. And, especially May 2nd and 4th is when the spring camp is that you mentioned there, mostly in Martinsville, also in Clavet, Saskatchewan, which is a rink actually that's named for Cole's company. There you go. They have the naming rights. Yep. But either way, I know Brett's working hard getting guys, lots of scouting and whatnot, video being done. So, get out there, and hopefully there's no hitches for the Wolverines.
Yeah, it's an exciting time for the community. And, I've been reading about the community itself, Warman, and, it's one of the fastest growing communities in Canada. It's every time I go there, it looks a little bit different. Like there's stuff getting built there all the time, people moving there, and it's an exciting community. So, like I said, I hope we're not playing too many favoritisms here, because we've had them on a few times, I know. But
they're our baby. They're the league's baby. Like, you got to take care of the league's baby.
We're trying to nurture it. We're trying to get it off the ground.
Do.
We're having fun with it, and it's exciting. I think everybody agrees that it is an exciting time for the league, and this is big for the league itself. So we're excited there. And the first overall pick in the SJHL draft. I mean, we're not talking about the draft too much yet, because it's still, like you said, a month and a half or so away. But it is an exciting thing that maybe there could be some big fireworks going on with that pick. I'm not going to say too much there, but I mean, if you know the dynamics of what's going on in hockey right now in terms of who might be available, I'm just going to leave it there. We'll see what happens. Obviously, there's a lot to happen still, but could be fun. So stay tuned for that. But Nugsy, the most important thing that we're talking about right now is Game 6 tonight. Final words on Game 6 before we say goodbye to the folks.
Yeah, could we get the graphic with the schedule there?
The schedule graphic,
There, we can just show people
I think
what's
our
at
graphic
stake.
Director was running around there in between the interview there.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys back there for sure all the time. But you see, there you go, Game 6 tonight in Weyburn, 7 o'clock. Game 7 if necessary. Yep. One person who knows the league well and I were talking this morning, and he said that if Weyburn doesn't win tonight, they might as well not get on the bus. Oof. That was a little extreme, a lot extreme, It was a lot extreme because the Weyburn Red Wings have proven, if anybody's proven that anybody can beat the Bombers in Flin Flon, it is Weyburn. Mm-hmm. So obviously he was being maybe a little hyperbolic, but you know what? You don't want to deal with that if you're Weyburn. This is your opportunity, really tonight.
End it now.
So end it now if you're a Weyburn fan, and if you're a Flin Flon fan, hang on to that mojo. Because it seems like the tiger is out of the cage, and it'll be a job for Weyburn to put the tiger back in the cage.
There you go. I like it. If you can't make it to the game tonight, make sure you get your Flow Hockey subscription because you can check it out there. Or again, follow us on all of our social media channels. We'll be updating you throughout the night, after the game is over, on our website, on all of our social medias, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, of course, with the highlight packs. So make sure you do all of that. Get your tickets now. Go to the rink if you're in Weyburn or around the area. Call them. The tickets, if there are any available, won't last long.
Can I also say, Melfort Mustang social media have announced that their tickets are going to go on sale soon too.
There you go.
So go to Melfort Mustang social media and get your tickets quickly too, because if we see a repeat of what last year was like, and how good this team is, tickets will be hard to come by.
Tickets will be hard to come by. Yeah. Hot ticket. Yep. So anyways, keep it locked to SJHL.ca. If you're in the Weyburn area or southern Saskatchewan in general, try to get your tickets now and get to the rink tonight. It's going to be a blast. If tonight goes Flin Flon's way, there will be a Game 7 on Wednesday. So a lot to stick around and stay tuned with. And then on Thursday, regardless of what happens tonight, on Thursday will be our Cantera Seeds Cup final preview. Rory will be in the building. It'll be basically what SJHL Weekly is, but on Thursday. We're just flip-flopping days. So today is usually weekly. It's Insider today. So Thursday afternoon will be a live broadcast. We'll do a full breakdown of the finals, maybe update you on what's going on around the other leagues as well, to see who's where. Because I know Calgary's hosting, and I know that Grand Prairie has already punched their ticket to the Centennial Cup.
This on Insider.
So that's one thing that we'll try to update you on.
And Winkler lost to North Manitoba.
Yeah, Winkler.
Eric Labrosse. Man, we could theoretically see Flin Flon and North Manitoba face each other at the Centennial Cup. That would be interesting. Don't yell at me, Melfort or Weyburn fans. I'm just saying.
That could be a lot of fun. So anyways, we'll update you on what's going around the other leagues, I think, on Thursday, just to kind of give you an update. But of course, we will break down whether it's Flin Flon, whether it's Weyburn. It's going to be Melfort. We know that. So we'll break down what's going on Thursday. And thanks to everybody in the back here at IKS, of course, Bryce and Steven. Steven was running around doing stuff. He was the NASCAR pit crew today, so he was fixing stuff. Thank you, Steven. And everyone else, obviously Jamie and, of course, Cole Kachur for joining us from Warman. But until Thursday, enjoy the hockey. It's going to be a blast, and we'll see you on SJHL Weekly on Thursday for the finals preview. It's going to be fun. See you guys.